Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives on how to approach a career in the field from different artists, producers, engineers, and other great minds who share their stories on not only what's made them succeed, but also what has shaped them into the people that they are today. I hope you gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you in your endeavors on your own journey towards success as well. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to episode number 163 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today I welcomed an artist. He's from the New Jersey area. His name is Wunder. I actually connected with Wunder through a mutual friend, Jakub, who hosts a podcast called Sunday Night Army that I was featured on last fall. He actually sent me Wunder's information and said that he was looking for different shows to be a part of. So we finally made it happen this week. Very cool conversation. Wunder talked about, being in music for 10 plus years, going through a lot of trials in his life in general, and just kind of getting back on the path of, creativity and leaning in towards what makes him truly happy. We talked about his song Rebound that dropped this spring. He has a lot more songs lined up coming up for the rest of the year and beyond. He talked about the importance of, keeping that schedule, the release schedule, in order to put out exactly what he wants to, when he wants to, and really just keeping the creative freedom on his side, learning to mix and master, and just doing things at his own pace instead of rushing things. And overall, I think just his story of perseverance is something that we can all learn from and we can all relate to in our own ways. So I appreciate him for, sharing what he did on this episode. And I'm definitely looking forward to everything he has coming up soon. So without further ado, let's get into this one. All right, so welcome everyone to episode 163 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series, and today we have a guest. He's out of the New Jersey area, and he goes by the name of Wunder. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm definitely appreciative that you had me on, so I'm excited to talk music and all that. Absolutely,
man. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Jakub, who runs a podcast called Sunday Night Army, for connecting us and making this happen. So shout out to Jakub. He's got a great show as well. But today, having this conversation with you, Wunder, I'm excited, man. And to start off every episode, we kind of have the guest give some background. How long have you been doing music? How did you get into it initially? Just some information for those that might not know you and what you do.
So many people probably don't. Around the age of 12, I picked up the guitar. My mom paid for me to have lessons. As a young kid, I just wanted the talent without having to practice. So that pretty much fell through until about my senior year in high school. We started freestyling, and I started recording songs just right off my laptop, super shitty. I think that was the real inception of it. Mm-hmm. It really took off when I got to Tennessee. I was going to school out there. My brother brought me down because, I was hanging with the wrong crowd. I didn't have any direction, so he brought me down there. I ended up meeting a kid that, wanted to get into recording. He bought a MacBook straight off the jump. Then, got all the equipment to go along with it, like top notch. It was all Avid stuff, like the interface and all that. And after we recorded the first song, I'm like, man, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Back then, I was making hip hop, and it was more trying to be cool and say things that I thought people wanted to hear, and I had to learn that over the years after all the songs I made falling on deaf ears. So I've seen a change in my music in the past couple of years, just speaking from the heart, actually telling stories about my life and relatable topics that people can actually gain something positive from. So yeah, that's pretty much where it started, and over the 10 years, I pretty much was a hobbit, just stayed in making music, learned how to make beats. Everything was YouTube University. I went to college for audio production at Middle Tennessee State University, but I didn't get into the program. They had like the top program in the country, being outside of Nashville. So just learned everything by myself, just practice. Literally, I do my best to put as much time every day into at least, some aspect of music. I picked up the guitar again about 6 years ago. I have an open mic on Thursday to showcase some of my singer-songwriter stuff, which the world hasn't really seen that on a grand scale. So yeah, it's forever changing, but that's pretty much the spiel.
Well, that's awesome, man. It's glad to hear that you're still at it after all these years, too. And I always love to talk to people that have been doing it for even longer than I've been doing it, because I've only been 7 years in now. So I haven't even reached that 10-year mark, but it's great to hear that people, they'll start out, and it's cool to kind of see the evolution too, you know what I mean, from when you begin all the way until now, and you can look back at those moments and be like, you might even like cringe a little, but then you're like, oh, I needed that to grow, you know what I mean? I needed that to be where I'm at today. So I feel like it's probably the same for you, even looking back to like 2010, 2009, and you're like, oh, those were some times, but you got through
Man,
it, and now you're here. So
dude, I got goosebumps from just you saying that because yeah, a lot of cringeworthy stuff years ago, and it was like it wasn't about. It's all about the progression when
mhm.
you look back, and like you said, sticking with it. There was a lot of times I wanted to quit, and I took a couple hiatuses. But again, I think those were the best things for my direction and career. It gives you time to step back and realize, you're going to go back to it if it's your passion. You're
Mhm.
never going to get away from it. But yeah, you learn a lot being away from it, and I think that was beneficial for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy because even people that start nowadays, it feels like everyone's in such a rush, you know what I mean, to kind of get to the next level so soon. But it's like, I think even as a creative, it's something that you can do it your entire life, you know what I mean, as long as you have the ability to do so. And, we always hope that we have good health and things like that to be able to create and give back to the world. So if we have those things, it's like you can really get into this stuff at any time. And like you said, even if you have to take a bit of time off, or time away to live your life and do other things, you can always come back to it. So I feel like a lot of people, they put that pressure on themselves, and it really doesn't need to be that way. It's just kind of like finding the balance to where you can make it work and still have it be a part of your life in some type of way. So I definitely think that's important too. And I did read that, like in your Spotify profile as well, it said you do a lot of the mixing and the mastering too for a lot of your stuff nowadays. So what do you
Yeah.
think led you to that decision to be able to do that more on your own? Was it kind of just, wanting to control the sound and kind of where it goes and have a hold on that, or how did that go?
Honestly, I'll tell you. When I was 22, I recorded my first mixtape at a studio, and it was all from my tax refund. And I spent $2,000 on 8 songs, and that was just for mixing.
Hmm.
It would have been like another 1,500 for mastering. So I was like, man, it sounded good at that point. I didn't really understand like mastering at that point, but yeah, it really was financial and just low overhead. And then I discovered this artist Russ, which many people might or might not know. And he's just, if you could do it yourself, I do feel the control thing is I don't want anyone really like taking my vocals and trying to think of my vision that I have in mind. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much. I used to hate recording myself, but now it's one of the funnest aspects of it, and just enjoying yourself while you're in the booth.
Yeah.
And
I actually just recorded a video today. I'm going to release it probably in the second half of the year. It's just for a content piece for Instagram, but it's asking artists, if they do that, if they record themselves or if they have an engineer. Because I know like people obviously have different preferences, but I think it is a skill that a lot more people are picking up now. Because like you
yeah,
said about it's more cost effective as well, to where you don't have to get studio time or you don't have to rely on anyone else to do these things, and you can use that money to put back into like the promotion and other things that you want to do with the release of it. So I definitely think it's a skill that a lot of people, they might still be overlooking because maybe they feel like afraid to learn that skill, and it is daunting. Like mixing and mastering is a daunting skill, and it's something that requires a lot of time and effort to do and to get good at. But just like I was saying earlier, I think when you find the time to devote to those things, you're going to get good eventually. So I definitely think that that's super awesome that you have that and that you've been doing that and learning that. And, I think that just goes like a long way, because even eventually that could lead you to mixing for other people. You don't know. It just depends on like what you're looking to do, but definitely commend you on that, man. Cause that's super awesome. So
I
congrats.
appreciate that. Yeah, that's why people always said, like you have great beats, you should just make beats. But honestly, I know where I'm headed on my musical journey. I know I need to be on the main stage and just affect as many people as I can. And I feel like it's kind of narcissistic in a way, but I feel the more people I can reach, the more hearts I can touch.
Hmm.
And I've seen it for so long, and now I'm finally manifesting it. And I hate that word finally. I shouldn't use that. It's been a lot of spiritual stuff too. It's all about mental awareness, visualizing what you want, working towards it every day, not just doing it when you're motivated, pushing yourself through the things that are hard and uncomfortable, because that's where real growth is. And I never understood that. I'm 32. It took me so long to figure these things out. And now if I can give anyone any advice, I used to put music out with no idea with promotion and how I was going to do it. And this is the first time I took a step back. I'm not putting stuff out impulsively. I'm waiting till I get my cards in place. And that's why thank you, Jacob. He's put me in touch with my PR team, and he's a big part of that. So it's all about strategically doing things. And that's the thing. You said people are in a rush, and I felt that for so long. I'm like, I'm getting older, I don't want to be a 40-year-old rapper. But these days Jadakiss is 55 and he's just coming back on the scene with millions stuff, so it's just such a different time. And yeah, you can do it until you can't. That's what I plan to do.
Exactly, and that's super awesome, man. So I love everything you got going with that, so congrats.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I definitely want to discuss your most recent song called Rebound. I believe you put it out in March as well, and I know it has like a super acoustic feel to it. I felt more of like a grassroots style to it, so kind of just give me the breakdown of the story behind it, how it came to be. What does that song mean to you?
Oh man, that was not the first song, but it was one of the few songs I made after a 2-year hiatus. After me and my ex were together, I kind of took a break on music and then got back to it. But it was, looking back, one of the darkest times of my life, but I'm such an optimist. During the times it didn't seem like it was as bad as it was. I had recently totaled my car from drinking and driving. And then I got a new car. That new car got stolen 10 days after I got it. It was a Hyundai. So I was driving a rental car that day. I was so depressed. It was the weekend. I was in Kansas City, away from family for so many years that, I had nothing to do. There was no nature around. So I went on a drive, looked up some beats as I was driving on YouTube, and this one was recommended. It was just given to me by God. And I wrote the song within 30 minutes while driving, which I never did that. I ran home, I recorded it, once I got done mixing and mastering it, it brought such a tear to my eye that I couldn't even explain how, it was just totaling my car and almost ruining my life and potentially could have killed someone. That was a blessing in disguise, because if that didn't happen, I would have kept going on a route where I was doing things I shouldn't have been, so that really redirected me and got me back to the mindset of, music is my life. I need to put everything into it, and one mistake consequentially could ruin my whole life. So
yeah. Hey, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know how you can become a monthly supporter of the show. So if you click on the show description in your podcast platform, you'll see the words support this podcast toward the bottom, and you can follow that link to sign up. You have the options of donating $1, $5, or $10 a month, and that'll be used towards making the show a better experience for you as the listener. That means new and exciting guests, giveaways, and a lot more that we can continue to provide for you. So feel free to click that link and check it out, or visit anchor.fm/provenknowledge/support to contribute today. And for now, let's get back into the episode. It's crazy how those signs can kind of just come at the right times, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's probably what that song was for you, is like you said, you were at a dark point in life in general. So it kind of just came at the very right moment to be like, this is where you need to go. This is kind of the path you need to start following now. So I think that's super incredible. And that was another thing I read in your description on Spotify is, believing in the healing of music and music being able to do that for people, and just the real power behind it, which I think we all know, especially if we are creatives. It's the moment you can put that out into the world and someone messages you or says, hey, this song, I can relate to this, or this has changed my life as well. That's what it's all about. So I definitely think, even just you putting that song out, that's going to touch other people with what they're going through, you know what I mean? And be able to receive that same energy back. So that's super awesome.
100%. And it was, there was tones of substance abuse, which I've had trouble over the years with that, but alcohol was more recent. And again, I just want to let people know you can struggle, it's on you to pick yourself back up, but you can have mistakes, and you can't let that affect you. Mm-hmm. Let that fuel you into doing who you really need to be, and find your purpose in life. Not many people really know what they want to do, and it's understandable. I didn't for the longest time, and there's so much unhappiness with that. And if there's anything I can encourage people to do, is do what makes them happy.
Yeah, exactly, man. And definitely know that you're not alone as well, because I think a lot of people always feel, especially in the dark times, they feel like they are just alone and they have no help. but it's like there's so many other people going through similar things. You just gotta understand that, and then like we said, when you hear it from someone else, even if it's just in a song, you're like, okay, that gives me some hope. You know what I mean? To at least make it through the next day, and then hopefully things just start getting better over time. So I definitely think that's awesome, man, and it's a great story because it just goes to show the power that we have just making music. It's so simple, you know what I mean? And a lot of people can even make music nowadays, but the power that it has is still like as good as it's always been, so
1,000%. I feel
yeah.
like we're living in a great time because everyone's inspired by music from the past 2,000 years. And again, I'm just now figuring out the spiritual aspects to frequencies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew about it in my 20s, but the power it really has. John Lennon wrote the song Imagine in 528 hertz, which is a resonance bees resonate at. So it's just figuring out stuff like that. And XXX Tentacion was big with, the actual frequency and wavelength, which hertz the song was
Mm-hmm.
composed in. So that stuff just blows my mind. And that's really what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, the fact that healing sound is like a real thing too, that's incredible. So it definitely has a lot of like I said, influence and just power that we can use. So it's super awesome. Do you have any collaborators that you have been working with recently? Could be other artists, could be anyone else you want to shout out on this podcast that we should know about, or have you just been kind of doing a lot of solo stuff recently?
A lot of solo stuff. There's a couple people that I've sent songs to have an open verse on, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on releasing those songs for so long. So it's hard for people to get on something they don't know will be out within like the year. I'm so sorry about that, dude.
No, you're good. Hey, it adds to the effect of the episode. This is a raw episode, man.
That's my work call. I do recruiting, so it's pretty much a 24/7 job. But no, I'm pretty much doing solo stuff. That's why I love Jakub. The reason I met him was actually because, he enjoyed doing music, and he was someone that was passionate about it and just liked doing it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known him for about maybe 5-6 years, and that's initially how we met. We have some stuff that we might want to do for fun in the future, but no, I'm pretty much solo right now. I don't know if you know the artist Abstract. He's one of my favorite artists I found over Swaggy tracks over the years. I want to pay him to do a feature down the road, but if you know anyone, I want to start mixing sounds and finding female vocalists that sings hook song where I can like spit a hard verse and anyone that's out there making music, I'm down. Even you, man, I'm down to collab if you got something.
Absolutely, man. Like you said earlier about it's kind of like a great time to be a musician too. I think that's the beauty of it is we have access to so many people. And I've always found that like it's really about timing when you're able to find someone or connect with someone, and then it can kind of just go from there, and you could end up making like songs with people, albums with people, doing podcasts like what we're doing right now. It's like there's just so many possibilities. So I definitely think you'll find a lot of cool people in the future, and I'll definitely keep you updated as well if I have anyone that is looking to work as well, even if they hear this episode. So that'll be awesome. What do you think is something that you're looking to accomplish for, the second half of 2023, even moving into next year, as far as like, it could be just releasing music, or maybe you're going to be doing visuals, or like, what do you think is going to be the next step for you that you really want to accomplish, a big goal of yours?
I mean, we got number 25 on the hip hop chart, the day of the release with Rebound. We're going for, I think, Christian, my PR guy, said number 5, and I like that number. So we're going to release Whoa. We were planning on June 28th, but financially I just might need to wait a little bit. And again, that's why I'm not rushing. I'm waiting until I have all the pieces of the puzzle. That's the next song coming out. I actually shot the video myself. My brother helped shoot part of the A-roll, and I actually chopped it all up, edited it myself. It looks beautiful for someone who actually doesn't have too much knowledge in video production, so I'm really happy about that. That will probably come out a few weeks after the release of Whoa, but I want to get a couple more songs out. Financially, if I have it in the cards, it's all about when I can pay my PR team on when I want to release it, and also letting each song get their time of day where I'm not rushing songs out where they're still climbing and having an effect on people and the numbers are growing. So
yeah, definitely looking forward to all of it, man. And I think it's great that you're kind of putting that plan in place as well, and almost having like that release schedule. So that's super awesome, and that's definitely going to benefit like for years to come. Because I definitely think that's the way I got to do it, man. Or else I'm unorganized as hell. Like I don't know what's going on. So
Me too. And
yeah.
again, I would like make a song, release it, and then it would fall on deaf ears. So now I have like 30 songs ready to go, but now it's just about figuring out the steps.
Yeah.
And, how to do. The next one I believe is gonna do some numbers, and that's not what it's about, but I want it to touch as many people as it can. This one's just as deep as Rebound. It comes from that same era. I probably wrote it about a year ago, so I've been sitting on it for a year. It's been in the vault. So
yeah, awesome, man. Well, definitely excited to hear that, and that's super awesome, so congrats on those as well.
Thank you so much.
And we're down to our last few questions here, and these are ones I ask on every episode. So the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
I would just tell myself, keep going, man. Like, you fucking got it. Like, and I'm going to get emotional because it was so up and down, and there was times, like, emotionally and mentally, I wanted to quit, and it was so fucking tough. If I just would have known I had my future self saying, hey, man, it's going to be okay, which I knew it was going to be, but I think that's all I'd say is like, it's going to be fucking hard as shit. That's how you're going to grow. The struggle is where you're going to find out who you really fucking are. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question, dude. That hits home.
Yeah. And it definitely goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning about just having that reflection time and being like, wow, I've come so far even from then to now. So,
love now that. I can't stop. Now it's because, I got it. Like, I got the marketable music.
Yeah.
I'm so... It's fluent now. It's fun. I'm getting back to enjoying it. Where it used to be so hard mixing and mastering, recording yourself. It's not fun. It's going to be struggle, but it's the achievement and what you see the progression becoming is going to be all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And once you find the passion, you're unstoppable at that point. So
yes, sir. 1,000%.
And if we flip that question then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in music, in life, all of it?
In the least conceited way possible. I just see me having my dreams lived out, where I have financial security. My mother's okay financially. My family's doing well. They're all healthy. The ones that are still around, that didn't pass away from old age. But happiness, that's the big thing. And maybe not even happiness, just being at peace as much as possible, being as in tune with Mother Nature and the things around me and the people I love, and being, an influence positively as much as possible. I just want to make sure every person I come in contact with, I'm leaving them with a smile and something they can gain from it, because life's too short and there's a lot of negativity. So honestly, just peace and happiness and financial security. Yeah,
man, that's super awesome. I definitely feel that. I think a lot of people they're so pissed off all the time, man. I'm like, how could you live like that? But,
people are living, for the wrong reasons, and they're working for companies that don't value who they are. And I had that for 12 years. I work for my brother now, and it took me 13 years of hard work, getting paid minimum wage to have someone see the value in what I can offer. So it's, again, just pushing on through, breaking on through to the other side.
Absolutely, man. Totally agree with all that. And do you have any final words of wisdom today? I know you dropped a lot of wisdom on the episode, but do you have any final words of wisdom for the listeners?
Health is wealth. Put the time back into getting your mind right, because a bad tree can't produce good fruit. And I tried to run uphill for so long, and when you're not putting good things in your body and your brain and nervous system and your gut are all affected, you're not going to be the best you can be. So first and foremost, get healthy, eat good things, exercise, meditate, and that's about it. And keep doing what you love. Hand in hand.
Yeah, man. Well, Wunder, man, that's all I have for you today. But once again, dude, I want to say thank you so much for, agreeing to be on the show. And I'm happy Jakub connected us, and we're definitely going to have to stay in touch and do this again soon, man. So congrats on everything you got going.
100%. Thank you again for having me on. I'm going to check your beats out. We're definitely going to stay in touch and hopefully reconnect in the future, whether it's on a song or another podcast. We'll definitely see what happens.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 163. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.